And we are back with Dr. Stacy Blythe. She's talking about what to do if you wake up tomorrow, or the kids wake up tomorrow, and they've had too much candy. Okay, so this is a normal scenario after Halloween, we will say. Some may have that upset stomach. What are the do's and the don'ts with that?
So if we're talking the next morning, basically you just want to get something on their stomach. They probably ate too much sugar last night, produced all that excess lovely stomach acid. Now their stomachs are off. So some protein, a nice bland breakfast, nothing too fatty, again, not too, certainly not spicy, should settle the stomach the next morning. If it's that evening and their bellies just hurt, I always found a nice warm water bottle or a heating pad really just would settle their stomachs. You certainly, carbonation, if it's not sweetened, if they'll drink soda water, can settle the stomachs a little. There are, if it's bad enough, a little bit of famotidine, a liquid famotidine for kids will work. If it's a headache, I do usually recommend Tylenol as opposed to Advil because their stomachs are already a little upset. And then just drinking plenty of water to just flush all the sugar and the acid out of their stomachs.
Yeah, definitely the flushing certainly helps, it seems. All right, so when is it time, though, to call a doctor? When has it gotten to the point where it's, those home remedies are not going to help?
So fortunately, we don't see that happening too much with Halloween candy, but certainly if they get into the phase where they're not just maybe queasy or nauseous, but actually throwing up, you might want to give us a call. Some kids who just have real tender stomachs can end up with diarrhea and 1 or 2 loose stool. I'm not too worried about, but if you get into 3 and 4 and 5 and they're now starting to get a sore bum or they can't keep anything down, so they're getting dehydrated, you want to give us a call. Certainly, fevers or severe pain, again, you'd want to give us a call.
Okay. Are there any other morning after things that parents should look out for Halloween next day, and what should we do for each one of those kinds of things?
So, I know we all usually do it that night, but of course, troll the bag and take out anything, that is you don't recognize the name of, isn't wrapped. Certainly chokeable sizes, especially if there's younger siblings in the house. I think that's one of the things I worried about the most. And then the next day, again, you just want to get into a healthy routine of, okay, this is in the house now, this is a treat, but this has got to be in conjunction with eating well, brushing your teeth, understanding that it's a treat and not something that you absolutely have to have, so that if this doesn't go well, we'll cross that bridge and change the rules if we need to.
All right. Maybe it's mom or dad that went a little too hard on the Snickers and ate more than they normally should. What should adults do? Anything different if they have an upset stomach?
So, all the same stuff. They have more options, Mylanta, Maalox, but honestly, I tell adults, it turns out none of us 100% do what we're supposed to do. Humans don't come that way. So we're all used to, falling off the wagon for one reason or another with our diets and how we take care of ourselves. And so just get right back on. So you had a rough night, don't spend a lot of energy beating yourself up. Just today, you're going to eat that, that boiled egg and that little bit of healthy veg in the morning and try and get better about how you eat the rest of the day. That should right the ship fairly quickly. Tums, that kind of stuff is always fine. But if you end up in a scenario where your stomach decides not to settle down and you have the same problems with vomiting or diarrhea, of course, again, give us a call. But mostly just, you had a rough night last night and get back on the right course and take care of yourself today and it should pass.
All right, and so like Halloween sometimes is like New Year's Eve for some adults, right? They drink a little bit too much witch's brew. What do they do to treat that?
Yeah, so again, remember, alcohol is a sugar and sugar is a sugar. So that can get out of hand pretty quickly, and they definitely can exacerbate each other. So real sugary alcohol or sugar with alcohol can really make alcohol stronger. So you really do want to try to moderate the intake for sure. But if you find yourself struggling the next morning, it's sort of the same advice. Hydrate well, get your protein and your fiber, try and eat well. You use things to help the upset stomach and the headache, preferably Tylenol versus Advil at that moment. But an ounce of prevention, when possible, is always ultimately the best approach.
For sure. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise, for sure. Lots of good information there. We want to make sure that you have it all. What we want you to do is check out our 2-year well-being section. We'll have it all posted there shortly.